Universal Soldier was a successful action sci-fi road trip movie, one that put rising star Jean-Claude Van Damme against Drago himself, Dolph Lundgren. It made a decent penny, and though the critics were mixed, genre fans loved it. But we never got a true sequel. The return was an odd mix of trying to rehash the past, while not feeling truly connected to the character we knew and loved. But what if I told you there was a low-budget, straight-to-DVD sequel that came 17 years after the original? One directed by John Hyams, the son of Peter, director of Time Cop and Sudden Death. A sequel that reinvented the Unisoul world into a nihilistic and grounded action flick that respected the source material, rightfully ditched anything from The Return, and put on some of the best fights and action scenes of the 2000s. And of course, reunited Jean-Claude and Dolph. Many of you probably haven't seen it or assumed it as a late career cash grab, and by this cover, I don't blame you.
What the fuck is this?
But Universal Soldier Regeneration is one of the best action sequels out there, and here's why. Now, before I begin, I want to give you a spoiler-free sell on why you should give this a chance. It deals with the grounded aftermath of Luke being a reanimated soldier and the mind of trying to reintegrate into society when your only purpose is to kill. It's set around a hostage situation at Chernobyl, cloning, and the grittiness of 2008's Rambo. Universal Soldier was a moderately big-budget action movie that played into the stylings of the late 80s with some of the charm and slickness the 90s would provide. And it gave Jean-Claude a change of pace from the street crime and tournament movies he was known for. And yeah, I know, Cyborg is in there too, but a lot of folks weren't digging it at the time. You can check out my take when you have a moment. But Universal Soldier had an interesting concept. Roland Emmerich had a good eye at the time, and it blended action, sci-fi, war, trauma, and some fish-out-of-water humor.
How was lunch, huh?
And it starred Van Damme, who is in his golden era as an action star. You'd think a sequel would be an easy win, but with some rights complications, a studio that was bleeding cash, and some shit Showtime TV sequels, it wasn't until 1999 that we got the official return of Luke Devereaux. And yeah, this wasn't it.
Why would you want to help him?
Seth's a self-evolving organic intelligence. That's what you don't understand.
It was really a sequel in name only. And this is where many fans and casual watchers checked out. So by 2008, the start of this production, interest in the franchise was dead and gone. I'm no stranger to a timeline switch, and after The Return made no one happy, ignoring it and connecting this story to the original was the only good move. Where is Luke this many years later?
Psychological rehabilitation, as Dr. Fleming calls it.
Not a normal functioning adult of some random kid.
Hillary! Whoa!
Victor Ostrovsky and John Hyams needed a shakeup. Where can you take the story that is not only fresh but feels appropriate in the world brought to life by Roland Emmerich? As much as I was let down by The Return, it was in the same general ballpark tonally of Universal Soldier. It was just the wrong mixture, the wrong lessons learned. That awe-inspiring, optimistic approach to the genre was gone. And I should say, Universal Soldier isn't a super light movie either. It has its moments of levity, but still took the concept seriously. This series had the DNA of dark and violent situations, dying in battle, being brought back as a tool, one for the purpose of killing and obedience. It's not far-fetched to want to explore these ideas in a grounded arena. It's still an action movie, but one that's filtered through a dark, suspenseful thriller that has bouts of brutal, stripped-down, and intense action. Nowadays, there's more of a pushback against such nihilism because it's being used in awkward and ill-fitting ways. The Luke here is viewed more as Frankenstein's monster, a vet who's dealing with being a reanimated corpse, pumped full of drugs and working for the government. The mood should absolutely be grumpy. Van Damme handles his new take on Luke with empathy and fear. You feel bad for him, but the arc always had to be the man from Nam ain't coming back, so let's let him do what he does best. And the last incident before the government takes their property back is him having an episode, finding threats where there are none. A man not meant for society. Right from the jump, we're thrown into an intense kidnapping, the threat of a nuclear attack, and the newer Unisol model. And how the soldiers are represented here is respectful but different. They're still cold and emotionless, but there's a bigger focus on being the perfect killer, which paints them in a creepier light. Director John Hyams described them as guard dogs with a sole focus. Andrei Arlovsky's Next Generation Unisol is one of the best new villains I've seen in years. He is pure business, and we're shown this by him stalking his prey. It's the end for any unlucky soul who wanders into his territory. Arlovsky came to work here and owned it. I loved him. We get the return of Dolph's Andrew Scott, a clone of the original who malfunctions right out the gate and is absolutely my favorite addition to this movie. How the character is handled, how they approach him at this stage is clever, sad, and all-out menacing. There's something surprisingly soulful about his yearning for understanding.
You often contemplate the complexity of life.
Yes. Trying to get some kind of answer. Been over this all before.
The diagnostic questioning was a smart addition. It's meant to keep the machine at bay and snuff out any semblance of life, but backfires as Scott starts to remember. He sees his reflection and some sort of memories return. And it's this confusion, a clone of a reanimated dead soldier, that takes him in a fascinating direction. He's not necessarily evil like he was in the original. No poor villager's ears are used as a necklace, but his being, the pure essence of him, ponders the complexity of life.
You often contemplate the complexity of life.
The action takes a more documentary approach, following one point of view per scene, having Arlovsky's NGU protect the hive, to Luke's entrance into the battlefield. Hyams doesn't stylize for the dramatics, but lets the action play out in more of a POV kind of way. It's impressive, especially on the small budget they had to work with. Luke versus Andrew is more destruction-based. Two behemoths trying to get the upper hand and destroying everything in their path. Plus, having Andrew remember that thing he wanted to tell Luke and never gets to, nice touch.
I knew I had something to tell you. You should remember what I wanted to tell you.
While Luke's entrance is both gunplay and hand-to-hand, I should say there's something so beautiful about watching Luke knife his way through goon after goon after goon. And of course, the NGU's battle with Luke is impressive. We get a 48-year-old Van Damme showing he still has the goods, giving us an intense, bone-breaking fight that outdoes anything from the first. The look is bleak with a cool color palette, and Peter Hyams as the DP. The score is haunting with Chris Hill and Michael Krasner delivering a great synth ambient soundtrack. And hell, I mean, even the smaller characters hold some weight. Carrie Shale's Dr. Colin is the perfect amount of snotty and smart. I kind of loved how foolishly arrogant he was. And he's always reminded me of Wallace Shaw from Princess Bride. And I'm glad the director confirmed it. Zachary Baharov played the general with a good amount of humanity and gave his villain a decent amount of gray. While Emily Joyce's Dr. Fleming had the perfect amount of parental care for Luke. Her volunteering to give him the serum that will reverse all of her hard work, it was bittersweet, and a cool moment in the film. But the question is, how the hell does such a late, straight-to-DVD sequel, and I know that was just in the United States, that had a small budget, produce such a smart and kick-ass reinvention of a property that ran out of steam at its first official sequel?
Are you happy?
I really want to give credit to John Hyams and team for creating a brilliant addition that in many ways outshines the original. The dark turn felt appropriate. The action was expertly choreographed. I mean, that's just pure and filtered carnage. And it treated the classic characters with reverence and aged them in unique ways that felt like a natural and organic progression. Now, there's even a darker and bleaker sequel, one that expands the world and has a more of a passing the baton. And I'd love to cover it if you guys are interested. But you could easily take Regeneration as the series' official ending if you wanted to. Listen, this is one of the best sequels out there, and I wish it got the accolades and respect I believe it deserves. So if you haven't seen it in a while, give it another watch, and if not, seek this out. You won't be disappointed.
You are a punctual and reliable person.
Yes.
Friends find you impulsive and unpredictable.
No.
You often contemplate the complexity of life.
Yes.
Is it necessary for you to question things you don't know?
No.
You often contemplate the complexity of life. Wait a sec.
Seems like the world is moving on. Didn't stop to look around. Didn't give a shit if you're crashing down. You can close your eyes but not your skin. Don't believe what you refuse to see.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.